Okay, sorry about that. I didn't have the mic on. So, uh-oh. Uh-oh. Is this on voice activated? Sorry, let me get rid of that.
What?
This is on voice activated. I got to turn that off. Sorry.
Okay.
Oh, man. I'm just messing up today. Okay, there we go. No. Continuous. No. Check. Okay, it's not working, right?
Checky.
Oh, no. What? A push to talk. That's what I want. Okay, sorry, everybody. Yep, sorry about that. Oh, it should be okay.
Disconnected.
Okay, sorry out there, anybody who was stuck in listener land, had technical difficulty. Okay, so welcome to dropping in at Pipeline Audio number 104, and this is Craptastic is the intended behavior. So first thing we got here is the bastion of wisdom known as Facebook. We have a claim. Using an amp sim is not reamping. The guy says he doesn't hate amp sims or anything, but one of the funniest parts is that he says that if you send your hardware out to a Helix and then re-record it, that's reamping. But using the Helix native plugin, which as far as I can tell is exactly the same DSP as the Helix floor unit or whatever, isn't reamping. So I don't want to get all Steve McRae and, it's just super pedantic for no reason. But is there a distinction without a difference here? If you put 2 and 3 into something and 5 comes out, I don't really care what you call it. I mean, if I put a signal into a Helix piece of hardware and the same signal through the Helix native, and then I phase flip them, polarity flip for your real pedants out there, and they cancel, it's the same thing. So maybe you don't want to call it reamp if it's a plugin, but it kind of doesn't matter. But, there's still this idea that amps are the thing you want it to sound like, and the sims or whatever are maybe almost there, or they can kind of get that sound. They're almost as good or whatever. For me, in some cases, the amp sims are better than the amps. I like the sound of them. And, that goes for all kinds of things. It's not just the convenience. I like the sounds I get out of them. I like it better than anything I've ever had. So this idea that, one day will be almost as good as tape, or one day will almost be as good as a real amp, or one day it'll almost be as good as tubes or analog summing or whatever. You keep saying that stuff, but I take issue with the idea that that's even the standard that we should be going for. It's like that whole Fender Gibson thing. Like, oh man, I wish that really good guitar could be as crappy as a Fender. Then it'd be really good. I don't even get it. I don't get it. But anyway, was been a funny discussion, and it goes on for quite a ways. One guy said if you're not running it through an amp, you're not reamping. I mean, I'll take that definition, I guess, but I don't really care. So this other guy, it's funny. What I pay for when reamping is a guy with a good collection of amps, cabs, and mics who has the expertise to make them sound good and appropriate for my project. I don't want to pay a couple $100 for them to pull up an amp sim and search around for the right impulse. For the typical cost of reamping an album or EP, I can just get the plugins and do it myself. Well, then go ahead. If you think that it takes any less it's a different set of expertise to pull up the right impulse and dial up the right amps and stuff like that. I think I was probably one of the first people ever on the internet, if not the first, to describe the technique that most people are using to put multiple mics on cabs if they're not doing the Fredman or whatever. So I know what I'm doing when it comes to this, but I'll take the impulse most of the time. I really liked Celestian's impulses. They really did a good job on those things. So, you know, yeah, I like that. There's an answer here. The most important question everyone is overlooking is, who the hell cares? Yeah. Another one, what difference does it make? You know, I don't want to derail the guy's thread, but, and so what difference does it make and all that? So we got a definition from Radial Engineering. Reamping, you know, the guys who make the JDI and all the good DI boxes and stuff. Reamping is a two-stage process whereby, you first record the dry or clean track and then re-record the track afterwards by sending the clean track back through your amps and bass. According to Audient, reamping is the act of capturing both the clean and DI and your amp sound simultaneously, therefore enabling you to play it back through any amp at a later date and re-recording that tone. Doesn't seem to mention anything about real amp or not. You know, that's another take on it. So yes, you can do crappy reamping. So what? So, you know, I think this is just pedantic, but the idea that what I really want to take issue with is that idea that the Helix plugins and the Helix, you know, one is the real reamping, and that's when you send it to the Helix hardware, even though it should have the exact same sound as the Helix software. Just seems silly, but that's where we are. Okay, if you missed this, I'm just gonna put this on here just to make everybody mad. SSL had their $500 whatever native essential bundle, the channel strip with the EQ and the you know, basically like an SSL channel strip. The G or EQ had the compressor and the expander on it, the filters and the EQ, and the SSL bus compressor for $50. It's usually like $500, and it was $50. It was over February 19th, so if you are hearing this today, you missed it if you didn't get it. But you know how I feel about these kind of consoles and things. I don't really care. I'll take a modern, very surgical EQ. But there's still a lot to learn from here. You know, when I used to mix albums at the big studio, I pretty much, you know, I did use some outboard gear, but not like what you guys think. I mostly just used the SSL. You know, I really just used we didn't compress every channel. You know, believe it or not, we didn't put compressors on everything. And sometimes if I really just wanted to compress something, I just used the channel compressor on the SSL. If I needed an EQ, man, I love the SSL's EQ. You had so much power with it. It had two fully parametric bands, you know. And I could get away with just using that console to mix everything. I would patch in a reverb or two. I'd patch in some effects, you know, choruses or multi-effects or whatever, delays. But really, you know, we just use this channel for everything. And so, you know, I messed around to see how far could I get just using the SSL channel stuff. But the big deal is the compressor. I wanted to make sure that, you know, running through Plugin Doctor, we could get our compressors to do pretty much the same thing as the SSL bus compressor if in certain modes, if that's how people wanted to use it. And we're working on it. This V2 of Intuition should be out pretty soon, and really, this is, you know, $50 is money well spent to really test this out. Sorry, real tired today. Had the Bike Factory roll out today. Now, Plugin Doctor. It's much better than it used to be. It doesn't crash anywhere near as much. It's very handy. But there still doesn't seem to be a way to change the colors between the two different traces. Guys from DDMF, if you're hearing this, please let us pick colors or at least give us some colors that contrast a lot better between. It's really hard to tell on the compressor ramp section, especially which one is which. Let's see. So Facebook got spammed with this thing to put your email in for this company called JZ Microphones, who seem to make some pretty cool looking microphones. But you give them their email and you get this thing called Preamps Explained. And it's like an ebook. I guess you're on their mailing list now or whatever. A practical guide to understanding preamp types, styles, and technology. And what it is, again, it tells you about different mic preamp topologies. But, instead of giving you numbers and telling you what really is the difference between these things, and here's some hard data, here's some graphs, here's some measurements, whatever. Vintage preamps with a solid-state transformer all aim for one particular sound, a warm, harmonically rich, and weighted pairing with all JZ microphones and mics in general. Let's see. They talk about cheaper Neve clones, and they've become so close that for a slightly lower price you can achieve a very close quality in sound. What is that quality? Unless using the original Neve units, it's impossible to recreate the exact same qualities of the original designs. Is that true? What happens when you measure these things and you get the exact same thing out of it? They talk about tube preamps. They have a particular sound. Oh yeah, what is that? They have a glisten and shimmer to the sound and add subtle harmonics and impart an expensive and polished sound. What units do you measure glisten and shimmer in? It's just nonsense. Everybody's constantly making claims that they hear the difference. We got over at the gear page, you got 3 pages going by on people saying that this mic preamp is different than that mic preamp. And so I always ask, you know me, I always ask, can you quantify what that difference is? What is the difference between this microphone preamp and that microphone preamp? And you'll never get it. You'll just get crickets. They'll say that it's obvious, anybody can hear it, but they'll never give you measurements. This is when these are bald assertions and they're just not backed by anything. Forget it. It's just claims, and this whole paper is just claims. And just if you don't know, just use the mic preamp that comes in your interface. It's probably gonna be fine. It's not gonna be the difference between you making it and not making it with a hit or something. Okay, and so there's another. This guy doesn't have very many subs. Be cool to go to his channel. Oh, sorry. 191 views on this video. Sadly, it's this Rasmus Larberg Hansen, and it's a video called Cabinet Comparison EVH PV 212 412 metal. And it says he's comparing cabinets, but they also have different speakers. So he says, today we're checking out my 3 cabinets, an EVH 2x12 with Celestion G12H anniversary speakers, PV 5150 4x12 with Sheffield 1200 speakers, and a smaller PV 2x12 with Celestion Classic Lead G12 speakers. And I think, they're talking about which cabinet sounds better. There's a lot you can do, I think, to make cabinets sound different than each other, but I don't know if it makes that big of a... Oh, man, I'm going to get nailed for this. I don't know that it makes that big of a difference when it comes to actual guitar amp stuff. It might, but, your mic's going to be pretty close to that thing. It'd be neat to find out, but in this case... Okay, first of all, this guy plays amazing, and I think you'd have a hard time making him sound bad no matter what. So I don't know that this is a really good comparison. This guy's just unreal. And second of all, he's using 3 different speakers, not just the cabinet. So I'm not surprised that these things sound different. There is quite a difference in the sound. And the funny thing is, if you heard any one of them, I think you would be perfectly happy to use it in a mix. But it is an interesting video, so you should probably go check it out. Maybe we can do an actual cabinet comparison where they just swap out the speakers. That'd be interesting. But it's Rasmus Lauerberg Hansen, and he only has 435 subs, so you might want to subscribe to him. Okay, next. Okay, this is still a bummer, man. I sent a message to Waves again. I bug them every once in a while. For Waves Tune. I was like, can we please let Waves Tune render offline, like any other plugin already? I mean, come on, get with. I think this is more than a 10-year-old problem. It may be much more than that. And the company line, the copy and paste company line used to be, this is the intended behavior. I know that's the intended behavior. We don't like that intended behavior. Change it. So, of course, this guy writes back to me, "Hi, Aaron. Please note this is the intended behavior of Waves Tune. That said, you can feel free to write this down on our ideas and suggestions form." And we've been doing that for how many years? It's just unreal. So, where are we with graphical tuners? It just sucks. So, Auto-Tune it seems like Auto-Tune had been away for like 10 years. Like they didn't seem to be releasing new ones, but I guess they were, but they have a big new one. Auto-Tune Pro is like $300 or $400. I gave it a try. The same artifacts, like octave jumping and garbling and stuff like that used to plague you with the old Auto-Tune, they're still there. Unbelievable. Waves Tune and Isotope's Nectar, when Isotope still had a graphical pitch corrector, didn't do this. Melodyne, for the most part, doesn't do this. Melodyne has its own problems. I didn't get a chance long enough to use Revoice to really tell if that one was going to be okay. That one seemed like it was so clunky. It was amazingly difficult to work with. But that might be the best one. But I think it's like $600. It has a lot of advantages, like the most expensive version of Melodyne, which I think is $800. Revoice allows you to tune multiple vocals at once, so you can tune them all to the same thing, which is really handy. And I think in their case they have a much simpler way to do it. I think in Revoice you can directly edit the pitches like you can in Auto-Tune or Waves Tune or Nectar, like you can't do in Melodyne. I know you guys will say that you can, but you can't. It's not the same. In Auto-Tune and stuff, you can actually draw in the exact pitch you want. You don't have to make bends and try and join things and have weird skips and jumps. And with Melodyne, my problem was it was taking my S's away. It was the weirdest thing. Like, it'll work fine for a little while and then it totally won't work at all. It's very buggy software to me. It did work with ARA too in Reaper, and that's another thing. Auto-Tune has ARA, but it doesn't work in Reaper with ARA. Why not? They still haven't gotten back to me. I emailed them quite a while on that one. So where are we? What are we supposed to use? You can kind of get away with Waves Tune by going through a crazy motion. And you can actually resize it now, which is kind of nice. So maybe that's the one to go for. But, the market is wide open. Anybody wants to do this, because this sucks where we are right now. Oh, man. Let's see. And, okay, with Thunderbolt, where are we on that? Every year we keep hearing how Thunderbolt is going to be this thing. And there are plenty of Thunderbolt interfaces out there. And every time I'm trying to help people out on a forum or whatever, if it's a Thunderbolt interface, that's the problem right there. They just seem to make trouble. It's kind of like bringing back the FireWire memories, but worse. And there's the thing. RME has, I think, one device with Thunderbolt, and that should tell you something, because they got huge devices and they're running over USB. So that really, really should tell you something. So I don't know, man. The Thunderbolt is still, to me, sketchomatic. I would not buy a Thunderbolt interface at this point. We're supposed to get this. It was supposed to be PCI on a wire, right? You're supposed to get the same performance as a PCI or PCIe or whatever at the end of a cable. But it still doesn't seem to be that way. And it's funny because USB seems to work. I'm on an RME Digiface USB. So, and I'm probably on a USB 2 port, not on a USB 3. I don't even know if the thing is USB 3. But yeah, Thunderbolt, still scary. And so we have a lot of new plugins coming out, and you beta guys, man, you know, it used to be so easy to get beta testers because we'd all fight to be beta testers. And nowadays it seems hard to get beta testers going. If you're going to be a very active beta tester, let me know. And you beta testers that we have already, please email us back. We got, we're sending out emails of our new betas. Let us know if you're breaking them and how it's going. And let's see, there's one more thing. So Leapwing releases the Al Schmidt plugin. And I don't know exactly what this thing is supposed to do, but it's, you know how every producer has his own plugin going. There's a YouTube video. So the preset is a profile. It offers a different set of parameters aimed at the instrument. Vocal profile features sliders for body, air, echo, and compression, and variations for this stuff. And it's weird. It's not. What was the one that everybody you bought? The Sheps one, where it had, it was your basic channel strip. It had a de-esser, gate, EQ, I think, all that stuff. Pretty handy. Kind of like the SSL channel or whatever. And allegedly you could just use that and run it on every channel and win life, But this Al Schmidt one is a little bit more automatic, kind of. And, it's like, who is Al Schmidt? He has a credit back in 1957. And so he's got Henry Mancini, Breakfast at Tiffany's music from the motion picture for Henry Mancini. Hatari and Margaret Sam Cooke, Rosemary Clooney, I'm not sure. The Go-Go's, Swim with the Go-Go's, 1964. I didn't know the Go-Go's were around back then. Is that right? Jefferson Airplane, Crown of Creation. So he's got some old hits, and it looks like he's still going till today. Man, okay, I really want to know about this. Swim with the Go-Go's, 1964. That sounds way too old. Is that a different band than the Go-Go's that I'm thinking of? Yeah, it does. Eddie Cochran, and I don't know. Anyway, that's all for today. I had a short one, and I'll see you guys next week. He's saying if you use a helix. Okay, sorry about. No. Check. Okay, sorry out there, anybody who was stuck in listener land. Had technical difficulty. Okay, so welcome to dropping in at Pipeline Audio number 104, and this